Paul Draper says, which of the current players at Town have loaned out do you think will/should be in our squad next season? There's obviously 5 players there: Ali Al-Hamidi, Marcus Harness, Elkan Baggett, Cameron Humphreys, and Harry Clark. Now, Stu's written a bit that's gone online this morning, which is a kind of in-depth look at all of those players and what the future might hold for them. So if you want to see what Stu thinks about it all, go and read that. It's online now. But let's have this chat show in this virtual forum. And I'm going to start with you, Rossi. Do you want to pick one of those 5 and offer your thoughts? Because obviously you do a live watch every week, so you've been following closely as to how these guys have been doing. Who would you like to talk about to begin with? I suppose the obvious one's Cameron Humphreys. So you can either start with him or you can start with someone else.
I think, it's probably the obvious one to talk about first because, he's had an incredible spell at Wycombe and hopefully ends in promotion. Obviously, for a while, it was like, maybe get automatic promotion, even maybe win the League One title, but obviously in the end, Birmingham ran away with it. But, they've donned in the Suffolk Messi down in Buckinghamshire. So, a lot of people are now calling out like he needs to play in the first team next year, become a regular in the Championship. I think that, I'm sure, is the next step. And I know McKenna's a big admirer of Humphreys because obviously he played in League One, before with us. And then in the Championship, he sort of sticked around. Obviously, there's a lot of calls like, let's loan him out. Let's loan him out to a League One club. But the decision was, no, let's keep him around because he's obviously going to be training day to day with McKenna and co. But this year was the perfect way to get him loaned out, go to a team like Wycombe who are fighting for the playoffs. And he's been fantastic. He's played week in, week out. He's played a bit of a different role. It's been a bit more, attacking role than what he's been playing with sort of at Town. Obviously, he's more of a deeper role under McKenna, but at Wycombe under Matt Bloomfield originally and then Mike Dodds now, he's been more, been put more, further afield, which has been great. He's been getting assists, been getting goals. So, do you know what? I can see him potentially starting for Town next season. Maybe on the bench at first, but you never know. Could become a starter.
In midfield, you reckon, alongside someone like Sam Morsey?
Yeah, I think that's where McKenna wants to play him potentially.
Yeah.
So, and obviously we need midfield recruit.
Yeah, well, that's
because
that's the next question, AJ. So midfield obviously is going to be I guess a summer of transition. Clearly, Kayusta sadly is going to depart and go off and play somewhere else in one of Europe's top leagues. Massimo Luongo, you'd imagine, is going to potentially be another one of those kind of sad goodbyes to promotion hero, which will leave Town with Morsey, Jack Taylor, and Cameron Humphreys in that midfield engine room. Where do you see Humphreys fitting in? Because obviously he's done very well this season, but then stepping up the Championship, coming back and being a starter in the Championship is another thing entirely. A team that are going to be among the favourites to go up to the Premier League. So where do you see Humphreys fitting in next season?
It is a big step up, but it's not one that is by any means impossible. One of the good examples I can think of would be Harrison Burrows, who's someone that had been excellent for Peterborough for a long, long time, kind of going between midfield and left back, funnily enough, quite similar in that way. Settled down at left back in the end. He's gone to play for Sheffield United and been one of their best players this season. He's really talented young player who I think there's every chance he'll be a Premier League left back next year. And he made that step up in one season. That transfer took place last summer and he's been brilliant. So there's the kind of pathway that you can look at with him. And that's not to say it's as easy as that, but there's definitely the opportunity for it. Positionally, it becomes harder, doesn't it? Because we've seen McKenna prefer to play with 2 deep-lying sixes. It's been the big thing. We've seen that in the Championship. We've seen that in the Premier League. But Town have come into both of those leagues in very different situations, promoted up from League One, promoted into the Premier League with squads that, on paper at least, I know it didn't happen like that in the Championship, but weren't going to be right at the top end. The squad next year is going to be top end. So can you afford to lose some of that defensive solidity by changing one of the sixes, to an 8, which is something that would suit Jack Taylor a little bit more, playing them in a slightly more advanced role. We've seen some of that a little bit already with Jack Taylor starting games recently. He naturally wants to move forward because he's played in the 10 so much. They're quite similar players. So could you see Jack Taylor and Cam Humphreys kind of almost alternating, sharing minutes next season? I think there's every chance of that. I think there's similarities between them as well. And that's going to really help in terms of this midfield revamp, because then you're not suddenly having to think, well, we need 2 or 3 extra midfielders. It might just be 1 or 2 that can change everything. And Humphreys with his ceiling, with everything that we've seen from him, if he can do it in a slightly deeper role, I think will be a humongous asset. And I think that's where Kieran McKenna does see him. I agree with Ross.